Hello, today in this video I'm going to be going over some basic strategy guides for Doomspire Super Brick Battle, or I think that's the title. But yeah, so I'm not like a master at the game, so don't take these too seriously. I mean, use them, but don't like live by them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so first of all I'm going to go over some basic items and my items and why I chose them, and what you can do depending on your playstyle. So first up, for my sword, I have the Dark Art. I like this because it's good for either, number one, infected, just because you don't, like, it doesn't, I was a bit disappointed because they sort of nerfed it for infected, but it's still really useful for keeping alive for long periods of time, especially when you get swarmed. And plus, it's recharge time and swing speed. Once you start using them, you notice that it swings a bit slower, but it doesn't take that long to get used to it, and it's really not that much of a disadvantage in battle. Um, I mainly use that or sometimes the Great Sword, which is sort of, in a way, I would say the polar opposite, but it's definitely a lot different. It's nice because it does a lot more damage, but I don't really like it because usually the way I get over to other Doomspires is just by lunging and flying, which this isn't, or not flying, but like leaping. And since this has it slows you, it doesn't have lunge, it has great spin, which is a pretty decent ability as it is. I don't use it. This one's, I guess, if you really don't care about mobility at all and just want to go for damage, either use this or the Titan Sword, which is just its reskin. The Titan Sword's a lot more expensive though, but I guess if it's in your shop and you can afford it, why not? So yeah, and then there are always another few ones, like for example, I don't have it, but the Shadow Sword. Actually, let's see if it's in the shop. Maybe I can show it. No, it's not. But I don't, not necessarily the shadows specifically, but I think there are a few of them that maybe swing really fast at the sacrifice of damage. I can't name any currently, but yeah. So if you want to do something like that, that would be useful. Next up, my rocket launcher, the Shadow Dragon. I might use this one because it really doesn't have that much like weaknesses to it. Besides the reload time, which is pretty noticeable, but it's so much nicer because this one, it does just so much more destruction, which is what I really use it for. Because I don't really use my rocket launcher for combat. I really mainly use it for destroying. So that's why I think the blast rate is so much different. If you're using it maybe more for combat, you might want to use something like the kitten launcher, which has less destruction, like blast damage and stuff, and like blast radius. But it like shoots faster. I'm not sure if the kitten launcher. I've never used it, so I'm not sure if it's super good. But something along those lines, if you want to do combat for it. Next up, the gift bomb. This one's pretty simple. 5% detonation time increase is basically unnoticeable. And I'm never good at planting my bombs. I always right click. So it's nice to have one that only really slides, which is barely noticeable unless the tower's at a tilt. Next up, also the bridge trail. I honestly wouldn't recommend this one. I would really either recommend the default one or the ball cannon launcher thing. That one's pretty expensive, so that's why I don't have it right now. So yeah, I don't know why I use this. I just think it's sometimes it's very situational, and I don't use my trail that much except for bridging. But I really wouldn't recommend going out of your way to buy this one. And then we have the Shadow Shuriken. Honestly, I would really recommend either this or possibly Round Cat or one of its reskins. So I just like the Shadow Shuriken because it doesn't knock down players; they can't stagger them, and it has a slightly long reload time. But I think it's so much nicer because it does more damage, or not reload. Well, when it's charged, it has more reload time. Otherwise, it's minus. And it doesn't really bounce around as much. I just think it's more direct. I don't really use my Super Ball that much, but I think the Shadow Shuriken's pretty good. Again, you'd probably want to use one of these more construction damage ones if you're looking for something to do more like breaking blocks. So yeah, that really covers it for my items. So I think I'm gonna do show some gameplay and some tips for that. Hello. So this is gonna be the next segment of it. We're gonna be doing over the two main party modes. I'm not gonna do any of the VIP ones since I don't really play those. I don't have any strategies for for it. So it's just going to be infected in Round Cat Rally. So I'm not going to join the matches because they're sort of harder to find. Don't worry, for like the 2 teams in Classic, I will actually be in a match, so don't worry. And plus, these strategies aren't super complex. For Infected as a survivor, I usually just get to like a really high point, or like not like a dangerously high point, but just do a thing where it takes the Infected a while to get there. And then since I have the Dark Heart, I'll be able to take out an Infected normally, and then give most of my health back, so then I can just heal. As an Infected, I would really just recommend you try to go with another group of players if you can, since you have strength in numbers, and don't like be too scared to die. I mean, don't do it constantly. Don't like purposely do it or anything, but you know, like don't like run away to heal or something. You'd be willing to fight till the end, so then you just come back and strength in numbers still. So yeah, and then Round Cat Rally, I don't really have much of a strategy for this one. I'm not very good at it. So I would really just recommend getting something that's really good for destruction, like Shadow Dragon, or I think there's a few other ones. Like I know any of its reskins, like Lunar Dragon, Legendary Dragon, anything like that. And then also I recommend just having a normal like troll for it, your default defend. Like just put blocks in front of it. And then for a sword, I usually just keep my Dark Heart. I wouldn't like. I normally just use whatever swords you have. But if you so desired, use like either a tennis racket for its deflecting ability, or the Shadow Swords for its speed and swing, for its swing speed. And it has slightly less reflection power than the tennis racket, but they're both pretty close. So whichever one you have, use it. But that's not super critical. So yeah, those are just my 2 simple strategies for that. In the next segment, I'll be going over some strategies for 2 teams and Classic. So yeah, see you. Hello and welcome to the final segment of this tutorial. This is going to be like the actual like more strategy guide portion of it, of how to win some matches. So I'm on 2 teams, Zhejiang, I think it's pronounced. So yeah, first of all, I would recommend taking out bridge connections, definitely. Maybe you can do it a little better than I am. So yeah, take out bridge connections for both towers, because what you don't want to do is have it not taken out when the base of the tower is destroyed, because that usually causes it to get destroyed and then have another layer, and that's just not good. I recommend using both bombs and rockets. I only use rockets for that one, but yeah, so I definitely recommend that. Sword is really useful if it happens to get, since if the part you're standing on would probably get destroyed. Also, a little side note about like KOs and stuff. I wouldn't be like super paranoid about your kill to death ratio or anything. I mean, don't like purposely die or anything, but like if you die or somebody kills you or something, don't like purposely try to avoid it, if you will. So I want to make that sort of clear. I mean, defend yourself, obviously, and say either you. And also, I would. That also goes for like, don't like look for fights with somebody specifically. Again, this all changes. Is like, for example, definitely be very like protective and defensive if you don't have any spawns left, or definitely go looking for a fight if the other team doesn't have any spawns left. So yeah, I recommend doing that. And I didn't get to show it last time, but oopsie, this is annoying. Okay, so if you place a bomb like sort of in the middle, I probably won't get to show it. If you place a bomb in the middle enough, you can actually take out all 4 of those little pillars. I might not be able to just demonstrate it this round, but or I probably will. Actually, let's see. So yeah, if you place it in the middle, oopsie. Again, don't be like super paranoid about getting killed, or I mean, again, unless you're like going for KOs or something, or you want to complete like the get 10,000 KOs, that's definitely different. So yeah, let's see. I think I placed it properly. All of them got destroyed. So yeah, that's sort of just trick. Like maybe place. I'm not really know how to describe it, but I've just done it so much. I've wasted so much time on this game. I know how to do it pretty well. Looks like their tower just fell. So this is obviously where you would go looking for fights, since obviously you want to win by taking out their team before they can take out yours. Normally, one of my towers would have fallen and we would have been able to take it out this fast. I got sort of lucky this round with your team. Since you have to remember, a lot of this is your team. I mean, you're part of it, definitely, but as long as you're not, say, doing, like, Classic or something, where there's, like, 3 people per team, it's not that important. Yeah, so I know this is probably going to be one of the shorter ends of the videos. I'm not sure, though. Anyway, that's mainly what I have to share, so yeah, I hope this helped you somewhat. And remember, take it with a grain of salt. So, yeah, see you in another video.